Welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast. Today, I have Bonnie Sindeler from happilyeverphoto.com on the podcast. She is a family, maternity, and newborn photographer who had this big idea to create this industry-wide resource that you are going to want to hear about. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast. If you're a pet photographer ready to make more money and start living a life by your design, you've come to the right place. And now, your host, pet photographer, travel addict, chocolate martini connoisseur, Nicole Begley.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Hair of the Dog podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Begley, and today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Bonnie Sindeler, and she is from Genesis Photography out in Lincoln, Nebraska. And she's actually a maternity, newborn, and family photographer. That's okay, you guys. We allow photographers on here too. And the reason that Bonnie is here, she's also created a new site called happilyeverphoto.com that we're going to talk about. But Bonnie, welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast.
Thank you so much. I am honored.
Of course. We're so glad to have you here. You and I were just talking real quick right before this started about just all the different things of, all these different niches that are out there for photographers to be in. And I had a assistant that joined me on a shoot a couple years ago that did like newborns and toddlers and stuff. And, and I'm setting the dog up for like the 10th time to get this one shot. She's like, man, I don't know how you have the patience for this. And I was just like, I don't know how you have the patience for newborns. Because no.
Yep. Yeah.
It's so funny.
different set of patience rules. But yeah, I like I said before, I tried to get into dog photography and it wasn't for me. And I appreciate everything you guys do.
It's awesome. It's so fun. All right. Yeah. So we're today talking about kind of this new website that you've created. Tell us a little bit about Happily Ever Photo.
Sure. So I guess I'll kind of start with kind of how it came to be.
Yeah.
It was several years ago. I was at a networking event and a girl came up to me and she said, we're getting married and we had this wedding photographer who we absolutely loved. And I can't remember what the reason was, but she couldn't do the photos anymore. And they were like in love with her style. And she's like, I would love to find another photographer who has a similar style as she does. So she showed me pictures of the photographer and it was like a very, kind of like warm, moody kind of style that's getting really popular right now. And I said, okay, well, I don't shoot weddings and I don't shoot that style, even if I did shoot weddings, but I'm like, I have a network of photographers who I could reach out to on Facebook and send them pictures of what you're looking for and then have them respond if they have that style. And then I could match you guys, which I did, and she was very grateful for, but it got me to thinking there's really no other way to do that other than just getting on Google or getting recommendations on Facebook or something, and then going to every single person's website and looking through their portfolio and looking at their photos to even find whether that person has your style. And then if you found that, well, are they in your budget or are they in your area? Or, how long have they been in business if you want someone who's been doing it for a long time? There are just kind of these things that we would love to be able to narrow down to find this perfect photographer. At least I would too, because I was in the same boat looking for a family photographer for us. And I had like a very specific idea of what I wanted, but short of just pulling up tons and tons of websites and finding all the information on each website, there wasn't a good way to do it. So that's how I kind of thought about, this kind of resource would be really great for the public, is to be able to have this website where they could get on, they could search for a photographer in their area who specializes in what they want, they could filter out by how long they've been doing it, by their editing style, if they have a studio or not. There are several different filters you can use. And then as you choose these filters, it just narrows down the photography pool of the people who are listed on the site. And then that, like right on the site, there are all these listings for the photographers, and in each profile, they have their website and their email address and their general price point, which I didn't want to get super specific on for multiple reasons. And that's not a filtering feature, I guess I should make clear too. They can't go on and say, I only want this price point. But I also set a minimum for the photographers who can be on the site, that they can't charge less than at least what I consider to be a profitable rate. And I've done a lot of math and everything to kind of find that. And I obviously know that there's not a profitable, it's not the same in San Francisco as it is in the middle of Kansas.
Right.
But I kind of tried to find a middle point. But when I was thinking about the site, it was on my mind for several years. And I just thought, I know that to build a site, if I can't build it, which at the time I didn't think I could, I didn't have the skill set, I would have to pay someone to do it, which would be thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
And if I'm asking people to pay to be on the site, then who's going to pay when the site is brand new and it doesn't have any people coming on? And how am I going to convince people to come onto the site and look for a photographer if there are like 3 photographers, listed in the whole place? So I couldn't find a way to do it where I was like charging or anything like that. And I just sat on my mind for a long time. I'm like, how could I make this work? I just really want to do it. How can I make it work? And finally I thought, if I can build the site myself and I can contact the photographers myself, I'm not paying for advertising or anything like that. I'm doing it all. It's just cost my time, basically. And I make the website free for the photographers. So the goal is volume, right? We want a lot of photographers on there so that by the time people have used these filters, they have someone left. So I want to build a photography website so we have a kind of a threshold number of photographers that are all really great quality, and all charge profitable rates. And then we essentially bring it to the masses and show them the value of what we've created. So that was kind of the creation of it and why I started it the way that I did and why it's kind of set up the way that it is. And I only launched it. I started recruiting photographers in August of last year.
Yeah.
And since I live in Nebraska, I just reached out to Nebraska photographers first and grew that. And then I went to Iowa and then Illinois and literally got on Google and Facebook and made spreadsheets of photographers and their email addresses. I sent out over 7,000 emails, I believe.
Wow.
Over the whole US. I mean, like I said, it took a lot of time, a lot of trial and error building the site. I built it I didn't do WordPress because I absolutely despise WordPress. But I used a different hosting site. And so it was a lot of customer support calls and everything like that. But slowly but surely and as cheaply as I possibly could. And as of this morning, I think we have around 750 photographers on the site.
Fantastic. And it's based for US photographers.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. US.
Perfect. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I love when, you get these ideas and sometimes they just won't go. You're just like, it's still there.
Yes.
It's still there. I guess I really need to do something with this because this idea is not leaving me.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
No, it's fantastic. And you reached out to me. It was just earlier this year when you were getting ready to launch the North Carolina one. And, we get a lot of these random emails of like, hey, come by this SEO thing here, join this. Or they start with these like websites, like it's a free directory website. Just kidding. Now you have to pay. So
yeah. And honestly, I was honestly surprised with how many people did sign up because I 100% understand that. I get the emails too that I'm like, oh yeah, first of all, you're lucky if you even read it when it's not from someone you recognize. And then if you do read it, you see free and you're like, yeah, whatever, free with my credit card. And after 30 days, you charge me. There's always a catch, right? So I fully expected people that even though I was as clear as I could be that there was free and there was no upcharges or anything, that they would be like, yeah, right, whatever. Or they would just assume that the website was garbage since it was free, and they wouldn't even look at it. So yeah, I get it.
So anyway, guys, I sussed it out for you. I emailed Bonnie back and I'm like, in a very nice way. It was just like, so basically like these things require cash. What's your plan to monetize? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, this is legit. All right. Yeah, no, I'm going to share it with my people because it's a great resource. I know I put myself on there. You are also starting to build out some areas for different education pieces. But yeah, it's such a great place to be able to search for different photographers. And as, a business owner, I mean, it's a no-brainer to pop your stuff on there. It's another backlink back to your website, and it's just a great place to be in amongst the others, to be able to be found by people that might not have noticed.
Yeah, thank you. And kind of like you touched on with the education stuff, that was kind of a second part I wanted to give value to the photographers on the site, is that I haven't sent out all the information yet because I'm still adding a few things, but an actual separate photographer resources area of the site that, can only be seen by the people who are listed. And it's got podcast episode recommendations and educator recommendations and videos and articles and things like that I've just found to be just really educational. And I think I would like to, I want to share it with other photographers. And I just think education is essential in every field, but really in the photography field lately, that so many people are getting into it without a formal education, which is fine. But if they don't seek out that education, then it could, be a struggle. So, and there's
absolutely.
business tips on there. Obviously you have business tips. And then I've got some recommendations from other podcasters and stuff who talk about business. And yeah, it was just kind of an added bonus that I really wanted to help share.
I love it. Well, tell me a little bit just about your background. How did you end up getting into photography?
I took a photography course in high school when I was a sophomore, and it was aging myself, but black and white film. We had our own dark room. We developed all the pictures, and it just immediately fell in love with it. I'm not good at any other form of art. I'm just garbage at all other forms. But photography, I had a bit of a knack for. And so from there, I had two things that I loved in high school. I had track and field and I had photography, and my time was spent, on those two things or basically nothing else. So I was in the yearbook, one of the photographers for our yearbook, and took college. I actually wanted to major in photography in college, and my dad, who was a medical doctor, was not super keen on that idea. So I got a biology degree, but I did take some photography courses in college too. And my biology degree was 100% useless. But so I just, bounced around to random jobs for a long time. Always doing photography on the side, but never as a career. And then we made a move to Nebraska, actually, and I wasn't able to continue my job. We lived in Colorado at the time, to just kind of continue it over in Nebraska. So again, found some odd jobs, but started thinking, well, maybe I can just build a business. And so many, my story is so similar to other photographers. You did it on the side for a while, then people offered to pay you, then you charge next to nothing, which I don't recommend, right? And then just built it up after, over time. So this is my 8th year in business. I've always specialized in maternity newborn families. And that's it.
Nice. I love it. I do love that on the Happily Ever photo site that you do ask some clarifying questions to make sure that it is a site compiled of people that are creating, products, selling products, or just at a price point for a boutique experience that is actually sustainable. So, that it's not going to be our work next to a whole bunch of people that are charging $75 for for a session, which, if you're out there and you're listening to this nothing, we've all started there. We've all started there. Cause I remember when I first started, I was like, oh, if I do a day of mini sessions, 6 clients for $95, I'm gonna make $600 in a day. Oh my God, that's so much more than I make in my job now.
I know. I actually, on that topic, I actually wrote a little blog article that you can find on the website about that entire thing. And I said a lot of photographers jump in thinking, if I charge $100 for an hour session, then I'm making $100 an hour. That's amazing. No. Not really.
Oh, wait, it takes 8 to 10 hours to actually service that client. Oh, it's $10. Oh, wait, I have to buy computers and subscriptions and insurance and pay taxes. Oh, wait, that's $2 an hour and I don't get tips.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes, we've all been there. So anyway, if that's you now, come join the rest of the Listen to More Hair of the Dog podcast and we'll get you on the right track.
And I have too, like you said, when people go on the site and they fill out the profile forum that I have asked them to like verify somehow their pricing. So either give me a direct link to their pricing page or upload a pricing sheet, which obviously I'm not going to share with anybody.
Right.
But I've kind of learned the hard way because people would say, yeah, I'm in that price point. And then you'd get on their website and they clearly weren't. And even still, I get people filling out the entire form saying, yes, I'm in this price point, and then giving me a link to their pricing page, which very clearly shows they're not in the price point. So I think they're just banking on the fact that there's like a computer on the other side that just like, oh, they uploaded something, so it must qualify. But no, it's actually a real person. I do check it.
Right. Oh, yeah. So if you guys want to go check it out, it is happilyeverphoto.com. And then right up top, you can go around, check out the site. And there's a get listed button right up there that really just has a form, just takes a few minutes to fill out. And it's really just a fantastic resource to be part of if you want to add your name on there. Yeah, so that you can start just be added to that gosh, my brain is not working today. So you can be added into the network so people can find you more easily.
And I'm all for feedback too. I mean, I've created this myself, but I've used a lot of feedback from photographers and clients and everything on what could I do to, make it better, or what else would you like to see? I've added different specialties based on what people or different editing styles. And so I'm completely open. We're still fairly small, and I love to collaborate and get other feedback. So if you guys have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Other than, don't just like email me and say, you're terrible, quit the website. Please don't say that.
We won't. We are a kind community. Oh, that's fantastic. Is there anything that as a photographer, once we are listed on there, that is, would be beneficial for sharing it or growing it or just getting it out in front of more potential clients so that, more potential clients are searching on here?
Well, one thing would be to refer other photographers. And I know that there's kind of like this mindset that, if other photographers join, then suddenly that's like more competition for me. And I really wish people wouldn't think that way, because really the more photographers that are on the site, the more useful it is for the clients, which means more clients get on it, which means more people see your stuff, and even if we are just talking about SEO or anything, it's kind of like everybody wins in my mind. So if that's okay, or if you just want to refer photographers who do other things other than you, whatever, or in different states, like that's fine, however you want to go about it. But that would be great. But then also, obviously, just kind of sharing it, what I've done on like Facebook forums and stuff, if someone will get on and say, hey, I'm looking for a wedding photographer, which I obviously don't do. And so I'll go on and I'll comment, you can find wedding photographers, and filter by specialty and experience and everything. And I'll mention the website on that post just so it gets more eyes to it. And that's, it's kind of the word of mouth is the best way right now.
Right. Absolutely. And it'll continue to grow. Oh, Bonnie, this is so great. Is there anything else that photographers should know about the site before they go ahead and apply to get listed on it?
Yeah, one of the other features that I have on there is just kind of an added perk. And again, it's totally free for the photographers, is actually to submit a couple images every month to have the opportunity to be a featured photographer on the site. So if you go on the homepage, you can scroll down a bit and there's like a little gallery that you can scroll through. Every image has the company name and then a link to their website on there. And so there's usually about a dozen or so every single month that I will put on there and update it every single month, and then also feature them on social media just as just kind of a fun little thing. It obviously makes my social media feeds and my website and everything prettier. So it's, it's a little selfish, but it works for both.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic. So anyway, just wanted to bring Bonnie to you guys so you guys could hear a little bit about the site and how Bonnie came to wanting to create it and how she put it together, and checked it out. It's a great little spot. And I think we should all collectively just have so many pet photos on this website that everyone's like, oh man, I was going to get my family photograph, but now I definitely need my dog photograph too.
Yes. And I was telling you before we started too, that we don't have, that's one of our least common specialties that people have on the website. So I'd love to have more pet photographers.
Yeah. Perfect. So you guys, she has come to the right place to find the pet photographers. Get on there and let's take it over. All the dogs all the time. But Bonnie, thanks so much for taking the time to share this with us and with our community. And go ahead and let us know again what the website is, and then also where we can follow either that website on social or any of your stuff on social.
Yep. So happilyeverphoto.com is the website. And then Happily Ever Photo is our Facebook. And then I think it's Happily Ever Photo Company on Instagram. For some reason, they said it wasn't available, and then whatever. I won't go into that. But I also have, what I like the most is actually a private Facebook page for people on the website. So once you get on the website, you can join the private Facebook page. And that's where we kind of like collaborate. I ask for feedback, and things like that. So that's another resource.
Yeah, perfect. Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. And thanks so much for spending so much blood, sweat, tears, and energy to create such an awesome resource for the photography community. It's really, really great. And really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bonnie. We'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, go ahead and take a screenshot of this episode on your phone and post it up there on your Instagram stories, and be sure to tag us at Hair of the Dog Academy. And we would just love to see how you're listening. And full disclosure, sometimes we just like to give away a little pet photographer swag in the form of Hair of the Dog t-shirts and sweatshirts. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and share that screenshot of this episode, and don't forget to tag us at Hair of the Dog Academy. And while you're there, maybe you want to jump on over to our account and see what we're up to on the gram. Would love to connect with you. Thanks for listening to the Hair of the Dog podcast. This was episode number 138. If you want to check out the show notes for access to any of the resources that we mentioned, simply go to www.hairofthedogacademy.com/138.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Hair of the Dog podcast. If you enjoyed this show, please take a minute to leave a review. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. One last thing, if you are ready to dive into more resources, head over to our website at www.hairofthedogacademy.com. Thanks for being a part of this pet photography community.